Hello everyone. Now we'll begin with the topic called as biosafety guidelines in blood bank. So this safety guidelines can also be used as safety measures for personnel working in HIV and hepatitis testing laboratories. So for both the topics you can put forward the same discussion. Introduction with respect to biosafety guidelines in blood bank. It is said the personnel working in the blood bank should follow the biosafety guidelines. So it is not only with respect to blood bank, any laboratory, the technologist, that is the personnel refers to technologist who is working in any laboratories, they should be following the biosafety measures. So this measure is a protective measure against the diseases transmitted through blood. So some of the diseases which are transmitted through blood are HIV infections, hepatitis infections and others also are present. The bloodborne diseases can be acquired from contamination of hand, mucosa of eyes, mouth and nose by infectious blood or body fluids. So these bloodborne diseases will be acquired to the technologist through the contamination of their hand or mucosa of their eyes, mouth and nose by the infectious blood or body fluids. Some of the functions of blood bank are listed down, which are the important functions of the blood bank. That is, drawing blood from the healthy donor, blood grouping and RH typing is done, cross matching is done, Coombs testing to find out the ABO and RH incompatibility, screening of donors is done, that is to detect the HIV virus, the hepatitis virus, that is HBV and HCV virus, malarial parasite, treponema bacteria by the VDRL test and other hemoparasites are also detected in this screening method. Issuing of blood and blood components after screening and cross matching. So after screening and cross matching we can issue any of the blood or blood component units. Biosafety precautions or universal precautions, where these safety measures has to be followed by all the technologists who is working in the laboratory. Entry to the laboratory will be restricted, that is, other than the lab personnel, others should not enter into the lab. Closed laboratory coats or full aprons should be used. So we need to use the fully covering laboratory coats, and also we should use the closed toe shoes while working. So our toe also should be covered, see that it is not kept open. Aprons should be removed before leaving the work area. Before leaving our workspace, we have to remove those aprons. Contaminated clothing should be removed promptly. If your aprons has got contaminated with the blood or any body fluid, see that you are going to remove it at that particular time itself and use the fresh one. Mouth pipetting has to be prohibited. We should not perform this mouth pipetting. No eating, drinking, smoking or application of cosmetics or manipulation of the contact lenses in the working area. So you should not eat, drink or smoke in the laboratory, and also see that we should not apply any cosmetics, because cosmetics are also made up of the chemicals, where when you are handling other chemicals you may get some cross reactions. So avoid usage of the cosmetics. Manipulation of the contact lenses, that means you should not either you should not wear it or should not remove your contact lenses in the laboratory premises. The work area should be disinfected after the procedures. See that the disinfection is done soon after each procedures and also at the end of each working day by using a particular disinfectant called as 0.1% of sodium hypochlorite. So this particular disinfectant you have to use soon after your procedures. Clean it by using sodium hypochlorite and also at the end of each working day. Still more biosafety measures are present. Those are equipment to be repaired if contaminated with infective materials. You have to decontaminate before it is released to the repair technician. So if your for example, if your centrifuge has got contaminated and it has to be repaired, see that the centrifuge will be decontaminated first and then it will be released to the repair technician. Accidental exposure to hazardous material should be reported to the laboratory director. If you have got accidentally exposed to any sample which is got the infection, see that you will be informing to your head of your laboratory. Specimen must be centrifuged with the cap still on and the sample tube and the centrifuge lid closed. See that when you are going to centrifuge the samples, the sample cap also should be closed as well as the centrifuge lid also should be closed. All staff should be tested for hepatitis B surface antigen at regular intervals, because this infection can be caught easily now and then because of handling the different number of samples. So at regular intervals we need to check for this antigen in the technologist bloodstream also. Food should not be kept in any laboratory refrigerator, because refrigerators are meant for, laboratory refrigerators are meant for placing the samples or for any chemical storage. So see that our food won't be placed in the laboratory refrigerators. Metal equipments should be wiped regularly with 2% glutaraldehyde. See that the metal equipments like your centrifuge, incubators, these are also being wiped externally with the 2% glutaraldehyde. Used slides should be discarded to strong hypochlorite solution. So the blood contaminated or sputum contaminated, whatever slides it is, it should be discarded to the strong hypochlorite solution. Other rules like refrain from horse play, that means avoid the foolish behavior in the laboratory like pushing others, mishandling the laboratory wares. All these things should not be done in the laboratory. Pin long hair ups to prevent contact with the chemicals, equipments or flames. So you have to pin up your hairs, don't allow them to come in contact with these things. Do not wear chains, bracelets, rings or other loose jewelry. So if these costly metal things, if they come in contact with the strong chemicals, they may change their property. So please avoid using all these jewelry. Wear safety glasses, goggles or face shields or countertop acrylic shields while working with the strong chemicals, so that there are sometimes there is presence of splashes. In order to overcome this or to avoid splashing to our eyes, we can make use of these personal protective equipments. Use mask or respirators when working with the chemicals or other materials that give off dust and fumes. So some chemicals will also give rise to dust and fumes. In order to overcome this problem, we can make use of the mask or respirator. So this mask or respirators will cover the nose as well as the mouth. So protection to our nose as well as mouth. Follow manufacturer's instructions for operating all the equipments. So please follow all the instructions given by the manufacturer to run the equipments. Report any broken electrical cords or damage to the equipment. So any electrical cords are undergone damage or the equipment, it has to be reported to the head of the laboratory. Gloves. So you all know the different types of different size gloves are also available. So this particular slide will say about how when we need to use the gloves and which type of gloves should be used. Rubber utility gloves should be used, and when it should be used by the phlebotomist is during the donor phlebotomy. If the technologist is having any cuts, scratches or other breaks on his skin, we can make use of the gloves. Cover the lesions and then the gloves can be put up. For donor phlebotomy, when hand contamination with blood may occur in uncooperative donors. In case of uncooperative donors also, we can wear the gloves during the phlebotomy process. Persons who are receiving training in phlebotomy, the trainers also should wear the gloves. When handling open blood containers or specimens, also we have to make use of the gloves. While collecting or handling blood from patients or from donor known to be infected with the blood-borne pathogen. So in any circumstance, if you are coming across the infected samples, you have to make use of the gloves. Guidelines to use the gloves in a safe manner. You have to follow these instructions while making use of the gloves. Bandage open skin lesions on hands and arms before putting on the gloves. So you have to cover your lesions before putting the gloves. Change gloves immediately if it has been torn, punctured, contaminated, or after handling the high risk samples. So don't take up the risk. You have to change the gloves if these conditions happen. Removal of gloves is also very important. It should be from inside to outside. The outside surface should not come in contact with the inside surface while you are going to remove the gloves after usage. Use gloves only when needed and avoid touching the clean surface. So only when needed you have to use and avoid touching the clean surfaces like telephones, doorknobs, computer, etc. Phlebotomist may not wear the gloves if at all you are going to handle the healthy pre-screened donors. So no need to wear the gloves with respect to the pre-screened donors, but for your safety purpose you have to wear the gloves. Wash hands with soap or disinfectant after removing the gloves. After removing gloves also you have to wash your hands with soap or disinfectant. Do not wash or disinfect surgical gloves for reuse. So don't reuse the gloves. It should be always the disposable gloves, and don't wash or disinfect the surgical gloves for your reuse purpose. It should be just one time use gloves. Next one, hand washing. So how to do the hand washing also you should know the different steps of hand washing, in which and all circumstances you have to do the hand washing. Before leaving the restricted work area you have to wash your hands. Before using the laminar flow also you have to wash your hands. Between the medical examinations you have to wash your hands. Immediately after becoming soiled with blood or hazardous materials also you have to do, and after removing the gloves. In all these conditions you have to wash your hands. Cleaning of sharp objects. So how to clean the sharp objects? You have to use the puncture proof or resistant gloves. Puncture proof or puncture resistant gloves will be used. Do not use the bare hands to clean. You make use of the broom and the dustpan to avoid injury to your hands, and you have to discard these sharp objects in the puncture proof container. Next one, cleaning of liquid spills. If there is a liquid spill or blood spill, how to clean this spillage? Spillage will be covered with the 0.1% sodium hypochlorite solution. With the gloved hand itself you have to put this sodium hypochlorite. Leave it for 10 to 15 minutes. Then clean the area by using the cotton cloth, or you can make use of the tissue paper also. Then once again the surface will be wiped with the disinfectant. There is a list of disinfectant which will be used in the laboratory with the different concentrations or dilutions. Sodium hypochlorite, that is 0.5% of chlorine, 10%. Calcium hypochlorite, 70% chlorine, 7 gram per liter. Ethyl alcohol, 70%. Isopropyl alcohol, 70%. Methylated spirit, that is denatured alcohol, 70%. Hydrogen peroxide, 6%. Glutaraldehyde, 2%. Formaldehyde, 45%. Polyvidon iodine, 2.5%. So these are the different disinfectants which can be used in the laboratory.